Good morning, students. This is Sridevi. In our previous sessions, we will completed 2 units. In this session, I will teach new unit, that is third unit. In this unit, topics are Introduction to Distributed Shared Memory, Design and Implementation of DSM, Granularity and Consistency Models, Advantages of DSM, Clock Synchronization, Event Ordering, Mutual Exclusion, Deadlock, and Election Algorithm. Now, let us see. In this class, we are going to learn some topics in Unit 3. And the topics are Introduction to Distributed Shared Memory, Designing and Implementation of DSM System, Granularity and Consistency Models, and final topic is the Clock Synchronization. First of all, what is distributed shared memory? Distributed computer systems have evolved using message passing as their main method of communication. Other communication systems used in loosely coupled distributed systems such as RPC are usually implemented on top of underlying message passing system. On other hand, in tightly coupled systems such as multiprocessor machines, the communication method used is usually shared memory. In DSM is a form of memory architecture where physically separated memories can be addressed as one logically shared address space. Here, the term shared does not mean that there is a single centralized memory, but that address space is shared. That is, same physical address on two processors refers to the same location in memory. In distributed global address space DGAS is similar term for a wide class of software and hardware implementation, in which each nodes of a cluster has access to shared memory in addition to each node's non-shared private memory. In distributed system, processors share data transparently across node boundaries. That is, data faulting, location, and movement is handled by the underlying system. Among other things, this allows parallel programs designed to use shared memory to execute transparently on a loosely coupled distributed system. In DSM, data is accessed from shared address space similar to the way that is virtual memory is accessed. In distributed system is a resource management component of a distributed operating system that implements the shared memory model in distributed systems which have no physically shared memory. The shared memory model provides a virtual address space that is shared among all the computers in a distributed system. In DSM enables programs to access data in traditional virtual memory. When implemented in operating system, such systems are transparency to the developer, which means that the underlying distributed memory is completely hidden from the users. In contrast, software DSM system implemented at the library or language level are not transparent, and developers usually have to program them differently. However, these systems offer a more portable approach to DSM system implementations. In distributed shared memory system implements the shared memory model on a physical distributed memory system. In system that supports DSM, data moves between secondary memory and main memory, as well as between main memories of different nodes. That is the main concept of distributed, just introduction part of distributed shared memory. And now let us see the advantages of distributed shared memory. Advantages of distributed shared memory. The main advantage in DSM is high data movement and provide a similar abstraction for shared data. It programmers do not need to worry about memory transfer machines between machines like when using the message passing model. It scales well with a large number of nodes. Message passing is hidden. It can handle complex and large databases without replication or sending the data to processors. It provides large virtual memory space and it allows the passing of complex structures by reference, simplifying algorithms development for distributed applications. It's very cheaper to build than multiprocessor system. Generally cheaper than using a multiprocessor system. Programmers are more portable due to common programming interfaces. It shields programmers from sending or receiving primitives. Some of the advantages in DSM are similar abstraction, easier portability, possibly better performances, process migration, simplified. In similar abstraction, programmer does not have to worry about data movement, may be easier to implement than RPC since the address space is the same. And easier probability is the sequential programs can in principle be run directly on DSM systems. Possibly better performances. It will be divided into sub topics, locality of data and larger memory space. In locality of data moved in large blocks which helps programs with good locality of references beyond depend data movement U. In large memory space, no need to do pacing on disk and flexible communication, no need for sender and receiver to exit. It can join and leave DSM system without effective for others. In process migration simplified, one process can easily be moved to a different machines since they are shared the address space. And some of the advantages ideas can be implemented using normal hardware and do not require anything complex to connect the shared memory to the processors. It will be large memory sizes are available to programs by combining all physical memory of all nodes. This large memory will not incur disk latency due to swapping like in traditional distributed system. And some of the advantages are unlimited number of nodes can be used unlike multiprocessor systems where main memory is accessed via a common bus, thus limiting the size of the microprocessor system. The main advantage of DSM is programs written for shared memory, multiprocessors can be run on DSM system. This is the main advantages of DSM. Now let us see disadvantages of a DSM. Generally slower to access than non-distributed shared memory. It must provide additional protection against simultaneously access to shared data. It contains little programmer control over actual messages being generated, may incur a performance penalty. Programmers need to understand consistency models to write correct programs. In DSM implementation, use asynchronous message passing and hence cannot be more efficient than message passing implementations. And this is the disadvantages of DSM. Next topic is design and implementation of DSM system. In DSM is implemented using one or the combination of specialized hardware, paged virtual machine or middleware. What is an hardware? Shared memory multiprocessor architectures based on a NUMA architecture. Rely on specialized hardware to provide the processor with a consistent view of shared memory is the hardware. It can be handled memory load and stored instructions by communicating with remote memory and cache modules as necessary to store and retrieve data. This communication is over a high-speed interconnection which is analogous to a network. The prototype Dash multiprocessor has 64 nodes connected in a NUMA architecture. And next combination is paged virtual memory. In DSM, processor shared data transparently across nodes boundaries. Data faulting, location, and movement is handled by underlying system. Among other things, this allows parallel programs designed to shared memory to execute transparency on a loosely coupled distributed system. In DSM, data is accessed from a shared access space similar on the way that is the virtual memory is accessed. It can implement DSM as a region of virtual memory occupying the same address range in the address space of every participating processor. And next combination is the middleware. Some languages such as Orca and middleware such as Linda and its derivatives Java spaces and T spaces support forms of DSM without any hardware or paging support in a platform neutral way. In this type of implementation, sharing is implemented by communication between instances of a user level support layer in clients and servers. The instances of this layer at the different computer access local data items and communicate as necessary to maintain consistency. These are the design and implementation of DSM system. Even with hardware support, high-level software techniques may be used to minimize the amount of communication between components as a DSM implementation. The page-based approach has the advantage of imposing no particular structure on the DSM, which appears as a sequence of bytes. In principle, it enables programs designed for a shared memory multiprocessor to run on computers without shared memory, with little or no adoption. The implementation utilizes kernel support for user-level page fault handlers. Unix and some variants of Windows provided this facility. Microprocessor with 64-bit address spaces with the spoke for page-based DSM by relaxing constraints on address space management. The example of two C programs, reader and writer, which communicates via the page-based DSM provided by the method system. Reader updates two fields in a structure overlaid upon the beginning of the major DSM segment, and reader periodically prints out the values it reads from these fields. It signifies that it enables us to develop high-level abstractions of shared objects rather than shared memory locations. These are the implementation and designing of DSM. Next concept is the granularity and consistency model. First of all, what is granularity? Granularity refers to the block size of DSM. Is a block or unit or transfer of data transfer across the network. Selecting proper block size is an important part of the design of DSM system. The unit of sharing and the unit of data transfer across the network when a network block faults occurs. Possible unit of a few words, a page or a few pages. That is a granularity. Criteria for choosing granularity parameters are as the follows. First one is the factors influencing block size selection, paging overhead, directory size, trashing and fault sharing, using page size as a block size. These are the criteria for choosing granularity parameters. First one is factors influencing block size selection. This is typically loosely coupled. Already we will discuss in distributed main definition. DSM is a tightly loosely coupled. Sending large packets of data is not much more expensive than sending small ones. This is usually due to the typical software protocols and overhead of the virtual memory layer of the operating system. And this fact favors relatively large block sizes. Space overhead. And this process is likely to access a large region of its shared addresses space in a small amount of system. In this, paging overhead is less a large block size as compared to paging overhead for small block sizes. Directory size. Ultimately, result in reducing directory management overhead for larger block size. Trashing. The trashing may occur when data item in the same data block are being updated by multiple nodes at the same time. And this problem may occur with any block size. It is more likely with larger blocking size. False sharing occur when two different processors access two unrelated variables that reside in the same data block. The larger is the block size, the higher is the possibility of false sharing. Process P1 access data in this area and process P2 access data in this area, that is the data block. False sharing block. Using page size as block sizes. It allows the use of existing page fault schemes to trigger as DSM page faults. It allows the access right control, and the page size do not impose undue communication overhead at the time of network page fault. In this page size is a suitable data entity until with respect to memory contention. These are the main important concept in granularity. Next one is the consistency model. First of all, what is a consistency? A consistency model defines set of rules that must obey the memory consistency. If a system supports the stronger consistency model than the weaker consistency model, it automatically supported, but the converse is not true. Let us see the models in consistency model. First model is the strict consistency model. Another one is sequential consistency model, casual consistency model, pipeline random access consistency model, that is PRAM. Next one is the processor consistency model, weak consistency model, and final one is the release consistency model. First, let us see strict consistency model. In this model, value returned by a read option or read operation on a memory address is always same as the most recent write operation to that address. All writes instantaneously become visible to all processes. It implements on this model for the DSM system is practically impossible. It is practically impossible because absolute synchronization of clock of all the nodes of a distributed system is not possible. P1, P2, these all are the nodes. And second model is the sequential consistency model. In this model, a shared memory system is said to support the sequential consistency model if all processors see the same order. Exact order of access operation is interleaved does not matter, and this consistency requirement for the sequential consistency model is weaker than that the strict consistency model. It is time independent processor. If the three operations read R1, write W1, read R2 are performed on the memory address in that order, any of the orderings R1, W1 and R2, R1, R2, W1, W1, R1, R2, W1, R2, R1 R2, R1, W1 of the three operations in acceptable provided all processes see the same ordering. If one process sees one of the ordering of three operations and other processor sees a different one, the memory is not a sequential consistency model. Note here that the only acceptable ordering for a strict consistency memory is R1, W1, R2. These are the sequential consistency model. Next model is casual consistency model. In this model, all write operations that are potentially casually related are seen by all processors in the same means correct order. Write operations that are not potential casually related may be seen by different process in the different orders. In this model, a shared memory system is said to support the casual consistency model if all write operations that are potentially casually related are seen by all the processes in the same, that means correct order. If a write operation W is casually related to another write operation W1, the accepted order is W1 and W2. Before, the value written by W2 might have been influenced in same way by the written value of W1. Next model is the pipeline random access memory consistency model. In this model, ensure that all write operations performed by a single process are seen by all other processes in the order in which they are performed. All write operations performed by a single process are in a pipeline. Write operation performed by different process can be seen by different processes in different orders. Simple and easy to implement and also has good performances. For example, it leads a better performances because a process need not wait for the write operation. It will be performed by it to complete before starting the next one, since all write operations for a single process as pipeline. Next model is processor consistency model. In this model, the process consistency proposed by Goodman is very similar to the PRAM consistency model. That means pipeline random access memory model, with an additionally restrictions of memory coherence. A processor consistency model is both coherent and addresses to the PRAM consistency model. In memory, coherence means that for any memory location, all processes agree on the same order of all write operations to that location. A process consistency ensures that all write operations it will be performed on the same memory location, no matter by which process they are performed, are seen by all processors in the same order. Therefore, in this example given for PRAM consistency, if W12 and W22 are write operations from returning to the same memory location. For this process or consistency, both processors P3 and P4 must write the operations in the same order, which may be either W11 and W22. Next model is weak consistency model. In this model, isolated access to variable is usually rare. Usually, there will be several access and then none at all. Difficulty is the system would not know when to show the changes. In these changes in memory can be made after a set of changes has happened. Example, critical session. In this weak consistency model, application programs can take care of these through a synchronization variable. It's supporting weak consistency. The requirements are all access to synchronization variable must obey sequential consistency semantics. Next model is the release consistency model. In this model, all changes made to memory by process are propagated to other nodes. It will be changes made to the memory whether process are propagated from other nodes to the process nodes. It uses two synchronization variables, that is acquire and release. Acquire means uses to tell the system it is entering CL, and it release synchronization variable uses to tell the system it has just excited CL. It acquire results in propagating changes made by other nodes to process nodes. It will be release results in propagating changes made by the process to other nodes. In this release consistency model, barrier defines the end of a phase of execution of a group of concurrently executing process. This barrier can be implemented by using a centralized barrier server. These all are the consistency models. And next topic is clock synchronization. In distributed system, synchronization is achieved via clocks. The physical clocks are used to adjust the time of the nodes, and each node in the system can share its local time with other nodes in the system. The time is set on UTC. UTC means Universal Time Coordination. In UTC is used as a reference time clock for the nodes in the system. The clock synchronization can be achieved in two ways: external and internal clock synchronization. In this external synchronization is one in which an external interface clock is present. It is used as a references, and the nodes in the system can set and adjust their time accordingly. And next one is the internet clock synchronization. Is one in which each node share its time with other nodes, and all the nodes set and adjust their time accordingly. There are two types of clock synchronization algorithm, that is centralized and distributed. In the centralized clock synchronization can be distributed in two different types: passive time server and active time server. In this distributed clock synchronization is again divided into subtopics. They are global averaging and localized averaging. First one is the centralized clock synchronization algorithm. In centralized clock synchronization algorithm, one node has a real-time receiver, and this node called the time server node, whose clock time is regarded as correct and used as the reference time. The goal of this algorithm is to keep the clocks of all other nodes synchronized with the clock time of this time server node. Depending on the role of this time server node, that is centralized clock synchronization algorithm are again consists of two types. They are passive time server and active time server. And next clock synchronization algorithm is distributed clock synchronization algorithm. In this algorithm, externally synchronized clocks are also internally synchronized. Each node's clock is independently synchronized with real time. All clocks of system remain mutually synchronized. Each node is equipped with real-time receiver so that each node can be independently synchronized. Theoretically, internal synchronization of clock is not required. In practice, due to inherent inaccuracy of real-time clocks, different real-time clocks produce different time. Internal synchronization is performed for better accuracy. And these types of internal synchronization, that means distributed clock synchronization algorithms, are global averaging and localized averaging. In this session, we know about DSM, granularity and consistency model, and clock synchronization. In another session, we will discuss remaining topics in Unit 3. Thank you.